Good morning, everybody. I thought I'd hop on a live stream with you here on Christmas Eve morning, grab a coffee with you, and wish you well. I hope you're having a great holiday week if you're celebrating a holiday this week. Hey, no matter what you're up to, I hope you're having a great week anyway. Wanted to share a few thoughts with you in this live session on fasting strategies over a holiday. So we're going to dive into that in a little bit. And just happy to say hello to everybody that's here. M. Palmer, so nice to have you here. I hope you're doing well today. I think one of the big things I want, and this is something that, I think a lot around the holidays. Holidays are full of food, good food, hopefully. And I think sometimes people approach, they're trying to lose weight, they're trying to do some kind of dieting, which is not a word that I really like very much. And we can develop this kind of antagonistic, adversarial relationship with food. And one of the kind of vibes that I want to create on my channel is that I want people to develop a really healthy, joyful, positive relationship with food. And because, of course, fasting, you say, we're refraining from food. I never want anyone to develop a mindset of like food bad, I can never enjoy myself. If there's ever a time to enjoy yourself with food, of course, it's a holiday. And, food is how we connect with friends and family. It's one of our most enjoyable experiences. So I want people to feel supported that way. Here is kind of a way that people can get in a negative cycle with food. And then we'll talk about how we reverse it and then approach that with a couple strategies. And of course, if anybody has any questions along the way, we'll dive in that direction. So it can be very stressful to try to lose weight. And this is something that so many people struggle with. And then moving toward any type of health goal, getting blood sugar or other things in a better place. And it's such a balance because, of course, eating can be a driver of that problem when we can struggle with eating. This can create a dynamic, and then holidays, a most food-focused space. And so people can become intimidated of a holiday because here's a pattern that, happens many times. Let me know if you've ever struggled with such a thing. You're planning on... This is the way people say it. They say everything is good or bad, either as good or bad. I'm going to be good during the holidays. I'm not going to get off of a track. And then you get into a space with, all kinds of tempting food, and then people eat things that they don't want. And then they start feeling guilty about it. This is a negative cycle. And I've seen people spiral off track and people feel so badly about it. And then they end up being out of a rhythm. And so people have had experiences like that, and they say, I'm not going to do that again. And so then we end up creating this dynamic where we don't look forward to holidays. This would be something to totally avoid. Holidays should be like the things we're most looking forward to. But if you're struggling with a food situation and you're saying okay, we just block it out. One strategy, people pretend it's not happening, holidays not coming, and that stay on track that way. Then a holiday comes and you're not prepared for it, and people can end up feeling overwhelmed by it, anxious. Okay, this isn't a good relationship with food. And so then people get in a situation, they're anxious or they eat more than they want, and then they end up getting through a holiday and feeling guilty about it. And then it's creating a negative experience there. And so all these things we don't want with food. Food should be joyful, and food should be something that we are looking forward to. So this is the way I want to try to help people reverse each of those situations so that we can have, maximum enjoyment of food that we are eating and still be making progress toward a health goal that we want over time. So a holiday, in my view, you should always be looking forward to it. Even if you're struggling with weight, if if you're having difficulty interacting with food, okay, still a holiday should be out there. Don't block it out. Just look forward to it would be the goal, and have a plan for it. And this is how you take the pressure off of it. So much pressure in our society around food and eating and dieting and health, and I think we've really got to dial that back. So I always encourage people, like, whatever your holiday is, in your tradition, map that out over the year and say, hey, these are really key food experiences that I want to have over the year, where it's like my family or friends are going to be there, and these are foods that bring joy and meaning to my life. I want everybody always to have that. And if you have that out there to look forward to, that can be kind of like a beacon or a marker, or say, like, here is something that I am looking forward to that is really going to be a great experience. And then that can be something that you can already, even if it's months out, you say, I can already be experiencing joy from that now, and it's already making my life better. Instead of it causing anxiety now, or say worry about it, say don't worry, don't stress about it. I think a big secret in health and weight loss is that, like, you can do almost anything on any one day, and things are going to be okay. I mean, people talk about having like a bad food day, and that's not a language that I would ever use. I would never say, a bad food day. There might be like a day that is not moving you in the direction that you ultimately want, but like that's okay. Like, life is not a straight path, and can we find grace for ourselves and some tolerance and leniency to say, okay, I'm not on a straight path. There's like hills and valleys, and we're following, a course in a direction. That's the way I really would encourage people to look for it. So if we're looking forward to it in that way, one way that it can be helpful then is to say, can this give me like strength in a moment? Can this help, a fasting practice, or any sort of dietary practice, it's not, in my view, really like for the holiday. Like, the holiday is like the exception that proves the rule, right? So like, all of our health practices, all these things, this should be like for every regular, boring day where we're just doing what we're doing. And can this idea, getting ready for a holiday that is coming, can that help us stick to these practices? And then we enjoy that day. I tell people you don't have to intentionally, overeat. I certainly don't want to encourage that, but figure out, what are the important things, and then enjoy that. And then you can know, like, okay, hey, I've planned for this. Everything is okay. Here's the things I'm going to enjoy. You don't have to stress or feel bad about it. And so, like, now we're filling all of these spaces with good energy, right? We've been looking forward to things. We're not, nothing unexpected is happening. And then we're in this space, we enjoy it. And then that creates the opportunity then, as we get past the holidays, then we can look back fondly upon it and just have good memories of it. We don't feel overwhelmed. And that helps us stay on track with the health practices that we want to be doing. That's the sort of good energy, the good vibes, the good relationship with food that I think brings balance to our eating and everything that we want to be doing. So hopefully, eating can bring joy. What I want people to see to balance that out, fasting can bring joy. And these are the things to balance these two positions. Someone who's not used to it might say, fasting brings joy. Like, how can that be? In some of the previous streams I've done, we've talked about fasting as a gift, about space to rest and reset, give the body a break. This is the balance. Giving the body a chance to rest. We don't rest. We don't have like a concept of rest very much in our society. But think what it's like just in our body when we aren't, getting good sleep, when we feel tired and run down. Fasting is like a rest for the metabolism that can help it to charge up. And when you look at it like that, like metabolism is weary, metabolism needs a break. And fasting is the gift and the space that can give that to the body, and it can bring health and rejuvenation. Then you say, oh, I see that can be joyful as I train myself to be able to handle it and tolerate it. And so that is the line to navigate between those two things, finding joy in food and connection, and then joy in health practices that are moving us forward. Okay, so those are some thoughts that I had this morning about that, and then I'll dive into 3 strategies of how we can approach it. Let me know if you have any thoughts or reflections on that. Let me know how you're doing in general. I hope things going well. So if we're trying to accomplish this that I just laid out, looking forward to food, enjoying a holiday, creating memories, not being stressed about it, here's the 3 ways that I typically see people have success about it. The first way is basically just not even to focus on a fasting practice for a holiday. I don't want anyone to feel like this is something that has to be done, or even that it's something that has to be done all the time if you're doing it. A fasting practice, and what I mean, on this channel by simple fasting is basically like, what is the amount of open food space that you can tolerate comfortably without being stressed about it? And that might be just going from 3 meals to 2. That's kind of like a basic pattern that I help people get to. So if you normally eat 3 times and you bring that down to 2, that would be just fasting in my view, on a very simple way. And then of course you can dial that down. You can eat 1 meal on a day. You can have a full fasting day. These are all, kind of entry-level fasting practices that someone can work toward. But it doesn't have to be every day. And Palmer says, happy holidays. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm fasting. They're feasting today. Exactly. And back to my fast tomorrow. This is what I'm talking about. Giving ourselves the space and grace of fasting, practice does not have to be every day. We give ourselves space. Say, this day is about relax and celebrate, even indulge. I think that's fine. Never intentionally overdoing it. Of course, if someone out there is struggling with binge eating or something like that, of course, be mindful of that. I'm not telling anybody to intentionally overindulge, but have a treat, have good things, have joyful things. You have to have space for that. That's what helps to make dietary practice sustainable in the long term. If every day always had to be, hitting maximum intensity, you would burn out. And so we need grace like that. Thanks for sharing. So that's a place to start with it, the easiest place. Say, just take a break on your dietary practice over the holidays. Don't stress about it or on a holiday, and then just get back to the practices that are working for you. Okay, step number 2, or thought number 2 about approaching a holiday is just stick in a regimen that is working for you throughout that season. So whatever it is. So some people, the things I try to balance, the benefits of routine and the benefits of flexibility. And that's a line that we want to kind of merge between. Definitely there can be seasons to everything, but I was describing this kind of entry-level fasting pattern, just getting in a groove of eating 2 meals in a day. And this is kind of a first step for many people. In our culture here, at least in the States, right? Lots of people eating breakfast, pushed into eating breakfast, sometimes, encouraged to eat a breakfast that they're not even really that hungry for. And so often I tell people, like, things could be as simple as just grabbing a cup of coffee in the morning, keep that fasting space going over the evening, through the evening into the morning. And maybe someone says, I naturally get hungry around 10, 11, 12, and I eat then, and they have a dinner. And that can be not even so much like a diet. I would just say it's just a lifestyle. Somebody slept in on a weekend and then they just got up and had brunch and they had dinner. They didn't call it fasting. It was just, it was just the day. It was just what they did. It's just a normal thing to do. It can be totally normal, for someone to eat just once or twice in a day. And so if that's a pattern that resonates with your body and you feel good about it, like, no reason that you have to change it for a holiday. You can keep that sort of practice going and then just plug in the holiday meal and everything else into that structure. And so some people find that really helpful. Keep that basic level of fasting space going, even throughout a holiday, and then not feeling restricted or restrained in any fashion from enjoying, all the good food and everything, like in the window of time when they would normally be eating, and then just stay hydrated, have a coffee or tea or whatever your holiday beverage of choice is in that space. And that can be a really nice approach for it. And then step 3, or option 3, strategy 3, is to lean into fasting on the days, like on a higher level on the days surrounding the holiday. So if someone is, trying to lose weight, they want to keep momentum going, but we're trying to balance all these things. And they say, I'm going to have this day that is, much more food intense. And that is, important to me. I'd never tell anyone you can't have it. Okay. But they say, but the days on the other side, are not like that. Can you lean in, embrace some higher levels of fasting, and then balance it out over the week? So one strategy or thought I was talking about with someone last week is like, every day does not have to be about like progress every day. Like maintaining, is a perfectly great goal, over the holiday. And it can be really helpful, to say, hey, I'm just like in maintenance mode, like everything is okay. And I'm just content and satisfied in this space. And thinking of things in a week instead of like just a day, like, oh, this day has to be perfect. Like, well, can we just get to like, things are good enough over the course of the week? We have the big, like, let's say you normally eat twice a day, just out of, as an example. But you're like, you know what? It's Christmas Day or it's New Year's Day or it's whatever. I'm not doing that today. I'm eating 3 times. I'm having all the snacks I want. Okay, if that's the thing. Okay, but what if on the other side of it, on either days, you took things up a notch and you just had a 1 meal day on the days on either side of it? Then you're opening up bigger fasting space on each side of it. And over the course of the week, that'll smooth that out. We got a dip and then it's bigger and then a dip. And on the course of the whole week, maybe you come out even on the whole thing using some higher levels of fasting on either side. Sometimes I call that like, bookending or something, just kind of propping that space up. Some people really like that as a strategy. Sometimes, have you ever had it where it's like you ate a lot on a day and like you're so full, like you wake up the next day and it's like you're still full? As like so many times in our culture, we get pushed to say like, oh, we have to, keep eating. Like if you don't eat 3 times in a day, something bad is going to happen. Like, but sometimes people are like not even hungry after a big holiday. And that can be just also like a simple, natural practice to say, you know what? That was a big food day yesterday. I'm just going to follow that up with kind of some fasting space. Sometimes it'll feel good. Let the system clear out and reset. And sometimes, people feel naturally inclined to do that anyway. Can we give ourselves the grace and the space just to kind of roll with that? That would be another way. You don't have to do it on both sides. Like I was saying, someone, might feel more like, oh, I kind of fast on the front end of it. Open up that space. That can kind of even out. And then people say, well, I got so many leftovers. You don't have to cut it right off. Someone else says, I like that idea. Like just give space afterwards. Have a big food day and then open up that space. And it can feel natural to do that. And that can be another way to even it out over the course of the week. Have you ever done anything like that? Let me know if you've had experience, if something like that's been beneficial. If you're watching on the replay, can throw your experiences in the comments as well. Be happy to chat about it over the day and the week. So however you approach it, I hope that you can find that sort of balance, the joy of eating and the joy of the open space of a fasting practice to help move you in a positive direction of whatever you are trying to accomplish. Those are my thoughts of the day. 3 different approaches. If you have other approaches that have worked for you, I'm very happy to hear it. These are the primary methods that I've seen really work for people. Try to help people stay in the most positive mental space. That's what I want most of all. Build up our mental capital during the holidays. Everything, society, so much stress. And so here is just a great space, a holiday time, hopefully able to connect with friends and family, connect with some good food, charge up, and especially this time of year with the new year is right around the corner. And I know I'm getting really excited for it. Do you have a health goal that you're kind of thinking about for the new year coming in? I want to spend some good time here on the channel helping people move toward that in a thoughtful, helpful way. And it sounds like my family is getting up and around. Everybody was kind of sleeping in here this morning, so I thought I would jump on with y'all while I was having the coffee and share these thoughts. I think I will get off to the family and see how everybody's doing. I wish you all a really great holiday, and I hope these thoughts are helpful. I hope you have great food, good times, and I will look forward to seeing you back here on the channel soon. I'll be back live on Sunday, and we'll see you then. Thanks for joining me.